I was never supposed to be alone. Titan was meant to be a stepping stone, the next frontier after Mars, the place where humanity would prove it could survive beyond Earth. But now, I'm the last one here. The others, they're gone. And the worst part is I'm starting to understand why. It began 3 days ago. A storm hit, the kind we thought we were prepared for. Titan's storms are brutal. Methane winds strong enough to tear steel apart, cold that can crack reinforced glass like paper. We hunkered down, ran every emergency protocol, everything we trained for, and then the signal came, not from Earth, not from our orbiters, not from anything we recognized. It came from beneath Titan's surface, a low, rhythmic pulse, like sonar, but wrong, almost alive. Our instruments went crazy. Communications dropped. Power. Grids flickered, and when the storm cleared, I was alone. No bodies, no blood, no footprints leading away. Just emptiness, and that sound, still pulsing from the ground below. I tried to contact Earth. No response, not static, just dead air, like the entire solar system had gone silent. And now, there's something outside the habitat, something watching. I can hear it scraping against the walls at night. I can feel it vibrating through the floor. I don't know if it's something we woke up, or something that was always here, waiting for us. Either way, I sent a message, one final broadcast, because if anyone ever finds this, they'll know Titan wasn't empty, it was occupied, and we were never invited. After the storm passed, I thought maybe, just maybe, the others had gone to the secondary shelter. It was protocol. In case of catastrophic failure, regroup at the emergency pods. I suited up, checked my oxygen levels, grabbed the last functioning drone for backup. The air outside was thick, dense, heavier than usual. Every step crunched against the frozen methane ground like walking on brittle glass. The storm had reshaped the landscape. Familiar landmarks, the rocky outcrops, the signal beacons were gone, buried under newly formed ridges of ice. I followed the last transmission beacon from the team. It led me to the excavation site, the dig zone where we had first picked up the underground signals weeks earlier. That was supposed to be our breakthrough, proof that Titan wasn't just frozen oceans and hydrocarbons, proof that something once lived, or maybe still lived, here. And that's when I found it. Not the team, not the shelter, a hole. Perfectly circular, about 3 meters wide, sliced into the ground like something had melted straight through the ice and stone layers. No debris, no broken surface, just a clean, smooth tunnel descending into darkness, and from deep within it, the pulse, stronger now, almost deafening inside my helmet. I deployed the drone, sent it down. For the first 30 meters, the walls were smooth, unnaturally so, as if carved by machinery beyond anything we had. Then the drone picked up something. Else markings, not scratches, not erosion, symbols, patterns. Running along the walls in spirals, geometric shapes that shifted as the drone's lights passed over them, like they were reacting to being seen. My heart was pounding, but I couldn't stop. I followed the drone feed deeper until it found something. At the bottom of the shaft, maybe 100 meters down, there was a chamber, massive, perfectly symmetrical, and standing in the center of it, a figure, tall, humanoid, motionless, not one of ours. The suit was wrong, black, organic, pulsing, slightly with the same rhythm as the ground. The drone's sensors glitched out, radiation off the charts, electromagnetic fields so dense they bent the light around the figure. I tried to pull the drone back, but it was too late. The figure turned. It saw the drone. The last image the feed sent back was its face, if you could even call it that. No eyes, no mouth, just smooth reflective skin, like black liquid frozen into a mask of something that had tried and failed to look human. And then the drone went dead. Everything around me shifted. The ground beneath my feet vibrated violently. The Pulse became a scream inside my helmet, forcing me to my knees, and in that moment I realized the signal wasn't a distress call, it wasn't an invitation, it was a trap. We hadn't discovered anything. We had been lured here, baited, watched, studied. Titan wasn't dead, it was waiting. And now that we had come, it had chosen. I stumbled back to the habitat, barely making it inside before my oxygen ran low. And tonight, I'm not alone anymore. There's movement outside, not just scraping. Footsteps, measured, deliberate. Sometimes I hear them tapping against the walls, almost as if they're learning the shape of the structure, mapping it, testing it, preparing. And every so often, I swear I hear my crewmates' voices, calling my name, but I know it's not them, not anymore. I don't remember falling asleep. Maybe I never did. Maybe the exhaustion, the fear, the isolation, maybe it all just blurred together into something worse. When I opened my eyes, the habitat was cold, colder than it should have been. The emergency lights were flickering, oxygen levels dropping. And then I heard it inside, not outside anymore, inside, soft, slow breathing, but wrong. Too deep, too wet, like something trying to imitate life without fully understanding it. I grabbed the emergency pistol from the supply locker. Standard issue, useless against anything bigger than a methane rat, but it made me feel like I had a choice, like I could fight. I moved room by room, clearing the habitat, but every room was empty, every hallway deserted, except for one thing. The door to the comms room was open, wide open, lights inside flashing erratically. I stepped closer, and that's when I saw it. A figure standing over the main console, not one of the crew, something wearing one of their suits. But wrong. The proportions were off. Too tall, too thin, and the way it moved. It didn't move like a human, it unfolded, as if gravity, joints, muscles, all of it was just an afterthought. I raised the pistol. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely aim. It didn't react, just stood there, tapping slowly at the console, as if it were trying to understand what we had built, as if it were learning. And then, without warning, the thing turned to face me. There was no aggression, no hostility, just emptiness. And in that silence, something hit me harder than any weapon ever could. It didn't fear me because it didn't need to, because I wasn't a threat, because I was already too late. Behind the figure, on the cracked console screens, I saw the transmission logs. The message I had sent to Earth, my desperate warning, had been intercepted, copied, modified, and resent, but not as a distress signal, as a lure, an invitation, and somewhere, millions of kilometers away on Earth, they were already receiving it, believing it, trusting it, preparing to send more missions, more lives, more bodies, more fuel. I staggered back. The thing didn't chase me. It didn't have to. It simply tilted its head, slightly, to almost curiously, and turned back to the console, continuing its work. I ran, back into the frozen wasteland of Titan, into the choking haze and the endless night. The cold tore at me, but I didn't care, because I realized the horrifying truth. This wasn't about survival, it never was. It was about propagation. The architects of Titan, and whatever they are, don't want us dead. They want us to spread them, to carry them, to bring them home, to open the door for them on Earth. And by the time anyone realizes what we've done, it'll be too late. I don't know how long I've been running, minutes, hours. Time doesn't work the same here. The sky above Titan is a frozen amber, endless and suffocating, like the sun has been buried alive behind layers of poisoned glass. And somewhere behind me, I can still feel it. The thing wearing my crewmate's suit, watching, waiting. I don't think it needs to chase me. I think it knows exactly where I'll end up. There's only one place left. The emergency transmitter, the old backup system, separate from the main comms, hardwired into the lander. Itself, primitive, slow but uncorrupted. Maybe I reach it, hands trembling, lungs burning from the freezing atmosphere. The transmitter's casing is covered in frost. Cracks run through its surface, but the core, it's still alive, still humming with a weak, flickering pulse. I slam the emergency code into the panel. One chance. One final message. I don't have time for encryption. I don't have time for clarity, just words, raw and desperate, a warning. This is Mission Titanus. Last surviving member, do not respond to the previous transmission. Do not send rescue. It is a trap. They are not dead. They are not human. They are waiting. They are coming. Do not come to Titan. Do not answer. Do not listen. The transmitter whines, struggling to push the signal through Titan's dense atmosphere. I can only hope it reaches someone, anyone. And as the final packet of data leaves the antenna, I see it, on the far horizon, rising from the methane plains. Viki Tower. We thought Titan was empty. We thought it was just rocks, ice, storms. We were wrong. There's a structure out here, not built by human hands, a monolith of black, glistening stone, humming in sync with the pulse we first detected, and it's not alone. As the last light of my transmitter flickers and dies, I see them. Figures, dozens of them, rising from the ground like mist. Some shaped like us, others not even close. They move without sound, without hurry, without fear, because they know, just as I do now, that there's nothing left to fight for. They don't need our bodies. They need our networks, our ships, our technology, our pathways home. I fall to my knees, the cold finally sinking past the suit's dying insulation, and I understand. This was never about survival. This was never about exploration. We were the transmission, our curiosity, our ambition, our blind hunger to touch the unknown. That was the signal, and they answered. I close my eyes and listen one last time. The pulse is everywhere now, not just in the ground, not just in the air, inside me, inside the systems, inside everything we thought we controlled. We didn't discover Titan. Titan discovered us, and soon Earth will hear the call too. They'll see the false transmission. They'll think they're saving us. They'll come, and when they do, they'll open the door, and what walks through won't be human, not anymore. It took 37 days. That's how long it took for my emergency transmission to reach Earth, battered, fragmented, corrupted by the endless cold of deep space. But it got there. I know because the automated systems logged the confirmation ping just before the transmitters. Core melted into frozen silence, and I know because I can feel them smiling. The world didn't react the way you'd expect. There was no panic, no media frenzy, no warning sirens blaring across cities. No, Earth's officials treated it like another deep space anomaly, another mystery to probe, another opportunity to expand. Recovery missions were launched within weeks. Titanship Alpha Titanship, Nova full crews, scientists, engineers, soldiers. They thought they were rescuing the remnants of a broken expedition. They thought they were making history. They didn't realize they were bringing the infection home. By the time they set foot on Titan's surface, the structures were already active. Not just the towers, not just the figures, the atmosphere itself. The very air had changed, filled with microscopic machines, living data streams, drifting invisibly into the suits, the ships, the bloodstreams of everyone who came, and those microscopic invaders. They didn't destroy, they didn't kill, they rewrote. Minds first, slowly, subtly, changing thoughts, altering memories, reshaping what it meant to be human. And when the crews returned, when they brought their ships back through the void, when they touched Earth's atmosphere once more, they weren't themselves anymore. The invasion didn't come with lasers. It didn't come with battleships. It didn't even come with war. It came in silence, in smiles, in handshakes, in soft voices saying, "We made incredible discoveries. We have so much to show you." And Earth, desperate for hope, desperate for meaning, desperate for the next great chapter in human history, opened its arms. They didn't see the signs. How could they? The ones who returned looked the same, sounded the same, but they weren't the same. The pulse had changed them. Deep down, at a level no scan or test could detect, They were no longer human. They were something else. The architects of Titan had found their vessels, not by force, by invitation. And one by one the contagion spread, through handshakes, through conversations, through thoughts, an idea, simple, elegant, lethal. The future is here. Let go of the past. And the past, humanity, was erased, not overnight, but inevitably. First the major cities, then rural areas, then the hidden corners of the world, until there was no one left to resist, no one left to remember what Earth had been. And Titan, it wasn't just a moon anymore. It was the first colony, the first seed, the first step in a pattern that would stretch across the stars. A slow, methodical harvesting of every species that reached too high, dreamed too far. And now, as I record this final message, alone, drifting in the endless dark, and I realize I was never the last astronaut on Titan. I was the first warning, the first ghost, the first scream into a void that refused to listen. And if you're hearing this now, if somehow, somewhere, a fragment of the old world still exists, run, hide, erase. Your signals, forget the stars because they are coming. And this time they know you're listening and they are already inside.